As the Big Ten turns, we should probably just call this a docu-series or even a docudrama at this point. We have talked about the Big Ten every Late Kick Live for about the past month, it seems, and today, no different. To briefly play catch-up, because I know a lot of you have a life, and you have a job, and responsibilities, and kids, and all sorts of real-life things to think about during the day, whereas people like us are just paid to peruse Twitter and whatnot. Boy, it was a busy Tuesday. It was a really action-packed Tuesday. But then in reality, did anything actually happen? Don't know. But if you missed it today, here's a little synopsis. Take about 2 minutes. The Big Ten yesterday released that whole, we had an 11-3 vote line up here. It was in response to a lot of legal ongoings from the Nebraska lawsuit. So they wanted you to know, and they made sure to convey through the appropriate media mouthpieces out there, 11-3. That was the vote, 11-3. Not even close. So clear, abundantly clear. That was what Kevin Warren said at the time, and they reiterated it. Well, then this morning, you may be doing your mid-morning workout, you may be eating some oatmeal, you may be texting with your sister in Des Moines, and all of a sudden you look down and you say, what's this news alert on my phone? Oh, the president says that he spoke with Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren. What in the world is this about? As I told you the other day, and as I will reiterate here, we are not getting political, never have, never will on this show, so I'm strictly going to tell you what happened. What happened, according to the president and according to people in the Big Ten League office, the president offered testing support and federal support, and basically kind of said, hey, what's it going to take to get the Big Ten to play? And so that's kind of what a lot of us have been asking already. So that happens. And then subsequently, as is to be expected, you get a lot of smoke in the Big Ten. And a lot of people are asking, some credible, some not, but a lot of people start asking, wait a second, is something happening? Could this really happen? And then you hear a few more whispers, and then you see some unconfirmed reports and some anonymous sources being quoted as saying, hey, an October start to the season could be on the table. Then, a few hours later, again from the predictable blue check marks in the college football media world, you have people shooting down that narrative via league sources. I'll let you guess who that source is. You probably don't have to guess who I'm talking about here. And not only did they perfectly serve as mouthpieces for everything that the Big Ten League office needs to be put out there, they also, just pure hubris here, they actually had the gall to criticize Big Ten head coaches as pushing a narrative behind the scenes. Can you imagine? I dare you, Ryan Day, or James Franklin, or Jim Harbaugh, whoever it may be behind the scenes, how dare you push a narrative? That's our job. That's not your job. That's our job. Shame on you for, I don't know, let me check, being passionate about your job and wanting to play a college football season. And then the creme de la creme, again, we'll let them go unnamed because I don't feel like wasting our airspace with naming them. But there were a lot of them out there today that suggested to you, the reader, who apparently they don't think knows any better, yes, friends, today, Tuesday, September 1st, 2020, this all became political. When the White House got involved, that's when it became political, and not a second before that. So, if any of you think out there before today this was political, essentially you're an idiot or a simpleton that we can't even believe has the intelligence to turn on a computer and read our columns. But now it's become political. Okay, thumbs up there. Let's move on. I got a question for you. It's rhetorical. Guess I should have put a Twitter poll out earlier today. But this is kind of what I've been thinking about throughout the day. Let's say we could reverse engineer this whole mess. Let's say we could go back to August 11th. And let's say we're all excited about the Big Ten schedule that's just been released in the last week, and August 11th rolls around and no decision is handed down. We go to sleep that night, and there's no season postponement, there's no announcement from the league office. The Big Ten has just decided we're going to wait it out. We're going to do what the SEC is doing and the ACC and the Big 12. We're going to wait it out. You know, we still reserve the right to cancel this thing or postpone it down the road, but there's really no wisdom in making a move on August 11th. Let's say that happened. And let's say that that day internally, the Big Ten said, all right, September 1st, that's going to be our internal deadline. That's when we're going to need to make a decision. That is the line in the sand date. If that were to have happened, and today was the day that the Big Ten and the chancellors and presidents and whatnot, Kevin Warren included in this discussion, if that was the date where they needed to make a decision, do you think that they would make the same decision today that they made on August 11th? My answer is no. At the very least, I don't think it would be by the 11-3 supermajority that was shoved down your throat via league documentation yesterday. So that's one thought. Now what's happening behind the scenes is what we have to worry about moving forward. Publicly, there's no change. Publicly, the Big Ten released a statement that, as Big Ten statements have gone recently, included a whole lot of nothing. And behind the scenes, it feels like there are things happening. And I don't know exactly what those things are, but here's what it seems to me is happening right now. I think a lot of people in the Big Ten, a lot of people in influential and or decision-making positions understand they overplayed their hand. And we have documented this, and we don't need to go back on that. But I think a lot of people up there realize they kind of overplayed their hand. Here's what I mean. They didn't give you any data. They didn't release vote totals at first, but they really didn't give you any data that could quench the thirst for those seeking information as to exactly why the season needed to be postponed. They cited various medical experts, and they cited the intel they were getting from their medical experts, but yet you didn't get the intel. And if it's for the betterment of society and the student-athlete safety, you would think that's information that you'd want to push out there immediately. So since people didn't get that, then there have been a lot of questions to be asked. But you've been told the whole time, one of the biggest obstacles in the Big Ten that we cannot find a way to overcome safely is rapid enough testing, plentiful enough testing, resources that it takes to be in place to be able to test. Well, here's how you overplay your hand. You put all that stuff out there publicly, and then you have someone like the President of the United States call you up and publicize the fact that he called you up and publicize the fact that he offered you testing, because there's been a lot of advancement in that area even over the past month, and also offered you federal assistance. So now I want you to follow me here. Think about how this plays out over the next month. I want you to picture this. We haven't started the season yet in the Power Five. None of the Power Five teams have played yet. So still, we really don't know how this is going to play out. But I want you to picture this right along with me here. Let's say the SEC and the ACC and the Big 12 do pull it off, and they get their seasons underway. The G5s get their seasons underway. We've got some FCS teams out there with a season underway. And you've got deeper pockets as a conference than all of them. And they're getting their seasons underway without the need for help from the White House when it comes to testing and federal help. They're doing it on their own. You not only have deeper pockets than them, therefore more plentiful resources than them, you got offered federal help. And you said, no, we're good. How's that play? I don't think it plays too well. I think you can see the problem there. So I think some people who were initially very vocal about this, if you'll notice, we kind of pointed this out Sunday night, and I continue to point it out, there were a lot of people, head coaches, players, you remember the petitions going around, a lot of people were very vocal as soon as this decision was handed down. There was this groundswell of the let us play movement, let us play, let us play. Well, then some of those same voices, the volume kind of got turned down a little bit, if you'll notice, over the last week to week and a half. I don't think they lost their interest in this. I don't think they just calmed down and accepted the inevitability that there's not going to be a season. I think that a lot of people in the Big Ten who are in reality the most passionate about getting this season underway as soon as possible started to get a sense that maybe there were some things turning behind the scenes, and they thought it best to just have some patience, sit back, and let's see how this plays out. If this does not play out, where it finally appears completely locked, thrown away the key, we cannot get a fall season in, I think you'll hear a lot louder voices from a lot of influential people up there, even than they were the first time around. So it's still not too late. As I said today, it is still not too late. If the right minds were changed in the Big Ten, again, we sit here on September 1st, there is nothing other than hurt pride potentially that is standing in the way, if the minds up there changed, of the Big Ten getting their season off the ground in mid-October and being able to align with the other Power 5 conferences and tie in with what you would normally tie in, and that is a road that eventually leads to a college football playoff. Ask yourself, what's standing in the way? Is it data? Those numbers have been trending in the right direction. If they're not, show them to you. Haven't seen them yet, have you? Understandably, a lot of people still been out of shape about this. And I would guess, Colin, that we have another show Thursday. I guess we'll probably talk about the Big Ten again Thursday. Just a wild guess.